computer. And I believe we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Good morning. And welcome to the First Friday Facebook Live on Ask a Bookkeeper. Our mission here on Ask a Bookkeeper is to take the big, intimidating ideas that often scare people away from running their own small businesses and following their dreams. So we are working to simplify those ideas and turn them into a fun and rewarding part of running a small business. So think of us kind of like Sesame Street for small business owners. Our show here on Ask a Bookkeeper is largely crowdfunded, which is why you're not going to hear us advertising or thanking any sponsors today. So if this information is helpful to you and you want to see our show succeed and grow, please visit askabookkeeper.com and click the button to donate. From there, you can also access our YouTube channel and Facebook group, where you can catch past episodes and participate in ongoing discussions to help your business succeed. Pretty please subscribe to us on YouTube and tell your friends how awesome this is. I'm your host. I'm Ingrid Edstrom, the Priestess of Profits, and I'm here with my co-host, Penny the Practical Professional.
Hi, everyone. How's it out there in internet land?
Yay. And we're really excited to talk to our special guest today as we work to demystify some really big ideas about artificial intelligence, software integration, big data, and blockchain. So welcome, Garrett Wagner. Thank you so much for joining us today on Ask a Bookkeeper.
Woo.
Happy to be here, Ingrid. Penny, good to see you. You're looking sharp down there.
Oh, thanks. You're looking really sharp yourself. Actually, I love that suit.
You like
really
that?
Looks good on you. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Penny. I appreciate that. And the camera lighting looks very good on your facial features as well.
Oh, perfect. You know, actually, I was noticing your shirt and tie actually match the painting behind you, too.
That was not planned out, but I appreciate you for noticing that, Penny.
You're color coordinated. I too have noticed, Garrett, that you are generally pretty much always a snappy dresser. So well done.
Takes a lot of hard work by a team of people aside from me to put it together.
Are you saying that your daughter dresses you?
That'll be a day soon. That'll be a day very soon. That'll be a change in wardrobe, though.
Right. When your 4-year-old dresses you, it's going to be exciting.
I'll probably be like all mermaid outfit, just like dressed like a mermaid.
Oh, that's exactly what you need. And it would still match that painting behind you.
We would love to have you be a mermaid on the Ask a Bookkeeper show at some point.
My daughter would probably love that as well. And I got to say, though, I'm flying solo today. My co-host with the most cannot be here. He's busy. So we got Penny the Puppet. So I brought along my Dr. Deshawn little baby. So when it comes to stuff,
Dr. Sean is so cute.
He's going to step in and help us out today.
So the part of Dr. Sean Stein-Smith today will be played by Garrett's baby doll.
All right. Now I feel a little awkward. When Ingrid told me that I was going to be meeting a doctor on the show today, I didn't realize the doctor was going to be a baby. So I'm not sure really how to react about that.
Baby doctors are an important thing, okay?
Oh, so true. So true. Yeah, agreed. But anyway, it's a pleasure to meet you too, Dr. Sean Stein-Smith.
Thank you.
Well, let's go ahead and jump in. We've got a lot of big ideas to talk about today. Artificial intelligence, big data, software integration, blockchain. There's so many things there that a lot of business owners are hearing these ideas being thrown around, and they're pretty big, intimidating ideas that a lot of people don't quite understand yet. And we want to work and see if we can simplify them and explain where people might even already be using this technology in their daily lives and they don't even realize it yet. So yeah, I guess, Garrett, which one of these do we want to dive into first?
Let's go alphabetically. Let's go with AI first.
Artificial intelligence. We've got a winner. Okay.
I've known several people that were artificially intelligent.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How many?
Yeah.
3, 4?
What's that?
Was it 4 people?
4 people that were artificially intelligent? No, it seems like most of the people out there are.
Most. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, we'll talk about AI first then. So AI, in science fiction movies, it's always the ruination of mankind. Think Terminator, Skynet, it just ruins the whole world.
Sure.
But for us in the accounting and finance space, it's already started to do what it's going to do, the exact opposite. Because the goal of AI is to replicate the behavior that we exhibit and the intelligence that we have and the decision-making we have in a computer program. Right now we're used to Excel. Excel is great, but it's very basic. You have to tell it to go 1 + 1 = 2. You have to tell it to create a pivot table. And then we have to interpret the results upon that. Where AI, what it attempts to do is match, it learns, machine learning, understanding transactions to make intelligent choices that a human being makes. So the prime example, we're already seeing that outside of the accounting landscape. A lot of kind of like the social media feeds, your social media feed, maybe Facebook even, is driven by AI making decisions for what you want to watch based on predictive behavior. It tries to understand you. To your point, Penny, it tries to make an intelligent assumption for what you as a person want and put content in front of you.
Sure. And so that's based on the things that you're saying in your post updates and things like that. It's reading all of those in a way that no human could ever, even a team of humans could never read everything. Right?
Yes, exactly. And that'll tie a little bit later into our big data concept. But yeah, essentially that. They're learning about you, making assumptions, and they're learning as they go.
Excellent. So where else is AI getting its data from?
Oh, really from any place. Nowadays, especially when we talk about big data is pulling from almost anywhere, whether it's your phone, your smartwatch, your Alexa in your house, your email accounts, your banking activity, your credit card activity, your consumer rewards program at your grocery store, any consumer rewards program at any business is really selling your data to a third party. Some of your healthcare data, pretty much anything about you that ever touches an electronic system is sold to somebody else to buy, to make models up on you to know what you do and how you behave.
Sure. Okay.
Kind of scary. It's kind of scary when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. Well, and actually, I wanted to ask you about that. And I figured we'd do this in big data, but now that you bring it up, there are a lot of people out there that are really scared about their information getting taken, even just, random comments that they make on Facebook. Is there anything you can do to allay those fears, or is it something that we should be afraid of?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to allay all the fears, you can essentially live in a hole in the middle of the woods and never use an electronic device. That's the best way, but practically that's just the new world we live in now where, yeah, our data is sold in more ways than we could ever possibly imagine. For example, if you have a rewards card at your grocery store, they're selling data on you to somebody else. If you have a credit card, that credit card company has had the legal right for the past 30 years to sell data on you.
So every transaction you make, it can tell other vendors where you're shopping and what you're buying?
What you're shopping, what you're doing. So for example, Walmart uses that really well to pinpoint by a particular store what people want to buy based on weather, climate changes, the season, natural disasters, and sporting events. Oh. So they'll know in a specific city in Oregon that if you're about to get a major flood, you will buy an absurd amount of strawberry Pop-Tarts and a specific type of beer. And when that flood's coming on the radar channel, they're shipping those things to the store because they know you're going to buy it like crazy.
Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, that's really clever. I've also heard that people feel secure in the anonymity, knowing that there's millions of data points out there. How could anybody really target, one individual person? Is that true?
Yes and no. I mean, that's what it used to be. Yeah, just more mass targetization. But now with really laying AI on top of the big data, like you said, Penny, one person could comb over all this data. Now AI is making really acute, specific thought process on what is Penny like? What does Penny do? Where does she go? What's her behavior? What's she buying?
A lot of pie materials.
Yeah, just on you. Like we see that a lot, like your Netflix feed. Penny, do you have your own Netflix account?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Exactly. So your Netflix feed is a mix of big data, what's data that you're consuming and others, and then an AI program that's making assumptions. Hey, Penny just watched the show, the most recent puppet show, and she's really into puppets, and they're going to put more of that. Or maybe Penny really likes Voltron, or maybe Penny really likes Barbie.
Yeah.
Or maybe Penny's really into mermaids. So you get a whole bunch of
shows. I really like cooking shows.
Cooking shows? So your Netflix feed's got a lot of cooking shows.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
it's starting to kind of, what once was really broad is now becoming more and more focused through AI, the combination of AI and big data to target just you and only you. And that's where you start to see a lot of targeted ads on your Facebook feed. It's targeting just you. You fit a very specific demographic of people, and they're trying to reach you.
So let's think about this a little bit more from Penny's question. The privacy standpoint, though, is there's not a person behind this who's looking at Penny's individual information and saying, it sounds really stalkery. Ooh, this is what Penny likes. Penny likes cooking shows and long walks on the beach. And, it's a machine that's doing this for a bunch of people. And to that machine, we are individual points of data.
Yeah.
And when I guess taking it out of Netflix and putting it into the accounting standpoint, QuickBooks. I use QuickBooks for my business. My clients use QuickBooks Online for their businesses.
It's a great program. It really is.
Yeah, it's a great program, and it's starting to produce a lot of really amazing new metrics for us and ways to streamline our work processes and efficiencies, things like that. So, for example, downloading transactions directly from the bank, and with machine learning, artificial intelligence, it can now categorize most of those transactions for us. And, yes, there still needs to be a bit of human oversight to make sure that it's doing it correctly, but we can teach it. But that doesn't mean that Big Brother is sitting watching over my shoulder exactly, how I categorize my transactions and how my business is doing. Frankly, if Big Brother wants to know how my business is doing, Big Brother needs to get a life. It's not that interesting.
Well, Big Brother, the IRS already kind of knows how your business is doing. But yeah, that's it. We're all a bunch of like zeros and ones. And yeah, the bank feed and QuickBooks Online, whatever program it is a prime example of AI machine learning, where it says, okay, there's transactions. And it could be a gas station, and they're going to do a search of what's the name of that business, what do they do. It makes assumptions based on that to code it as gas. And then most importantly, and this is really the whole big benefit of AI. If we all remember when we first started in the profession, we were a staff accountant. Maybe we coded something wrong, and someone had to come back to us and say, hey, Garrett, just so you know, that's not gas, that's cost of goods sold gas, or that's fuel, or it gets coded here. And then I needed to remember that. And next time I did it, I had to be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is where I put that. And we're relying on human memory or my ability to write something down and remember to get it done. AI doesn't have that limitation. Mm-hmm. AI, you say, okay, this gas station goes to cost of goods sold gas. This gas station goes to G&A gas. And you tell it once and it remembers it going forward. It's the benefit of that machine learning. It learns at a very high rate past us. Those bank feeds is a great prime example. And we're starting to see it branch in other ways. There's some computer programs now that use AI to do the bank reconciliation process, where they're matching up transactions, they're using some machine learning, doing some broad assumptions, and they learn from the past transactions how to make intelligent human decisions about the bank rec.
So with that, looking at it from the accountant or bookkeeper's perspective, I've been looking for a while for a good program that can actually take on the bank reconciliations. And there's a lot of programs out there that say that they're bots, artificial intelligence, but then upon a little bit more digging, we find out that they actually have a small army of people in the Philippines who are backing this technology up, and that it's really not a bot. And frankly, as a management accounting professional, I'm not going to outsource my clients' sensitive, confidential financial information to unknown people in the Philippines. So, but if there was a true software option to be able to do some of this, I'd be really interested in finding that, because bank reconciliations can take some time. But we're to the point now where there's no reason for a human to try to be better than a computer at computing. And reconciliations, a computer really should be able to handle. It's 2019. Let's do this thing. So what programs are available to bookkeeping and accounting professionals that can actually handle the reconciliations? Do you know of any, Garrett?
Yes. Before we get to that, a key point what you just said, you kind of mentioned like you got AI, bots, and like outsourced labor. And it's kind of remembering they're all three different things. Obviously, outsourced manual labor is outsourced manual labor. AI is like the pinnacle. That's true machine learning. A bot is a very specific non-machine learning, non-intelligent program. The bot just simply says you can program the bot to recognize like this gas, this name of this company code to gas. Every time it sees it's going to do that, and you got to recode that. And bots are a level below like AI and machine learning. Bots are like intelligent computer programs. You program to do a very specific task. They're literally like 1, 2, 3. And that bot just does 1, 2, 3. So there's really kind of that like distinction there with it.
Whereas it sounds like if the bot just does like a simple statement, like a conditional statement, if this happens, then that is the result. Then the AI is able to program those statements itself, right?
Yeah, and AI can really learn from it and make more adaptive, intelligent choices. The real AI level is, can repeat the thought process of a human being. And our thought processes go way past like 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
But then, yeah, speaking of programs, a great company that just launched theirs is Flowcast. Blake Oliver, accounting 40 under
Love
40.
Blake. Blake's great.
His company just launched their AI-powered bank rec process.
So I've looked into the videos for Flowcast, and it looks like it's primarily doing the reconciliations and pulling the data in from Excel. I haven't found anything that does it that integrates with QuickBooks Online.
Yeah, I have not looked into that as deeply. I can poke around for you. I don't know any other ones on the top of my head.
Okay. I was hoping that Intuit would have developed it for us by now, but alas.
They're working on it. You know, the other big thing with AI to kind of put up to and on this is the cost for AI software at any level is come down astronomically. You know, moving past like bank recs, like there's several softwares that apply AI to do like full financial statement audits. And that software is currently being used by the same software by like the Big Four, the top 100, and CPA firms with like 2 to 4 people.
Mm.
So it's no longer this like AI is cost prohibitive. The small firms can't get into it. The small firms are using that software just like the big firms, and they can afford it just like the big firms.
Oh, well, that's cool. So if it's getting cheaper and more common, I guess the question is, what's the next step? What's the future of AI? Like immediate future?
Immediate future, it just kind of branching out, learning how to do more complex human tasks.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be something like you can go into the QuickBooks Online file and look for fraud. You know, where a human being, it might have taken a week to find 6 cases of financial statement fraud, where AI is going to find it in minutes. And they did a case study with the Big Four and IBM Watson's AI, I think it was like 3-4 years ago, and they gave them a huge financial statement audit practice case. And the Big Four firms took on average, I don't know, somewhere around like a whole week to do the audit. And they had like 4 instances of fraud that were in there. And, you know, when they're the Big Four, that's pretty big, which typical turnaround time. I think Watson completed in like 6 hours and found all 4 instances of fraud.
Wow.
So now it's just applying that to the masses and make it economically feasible for AI to do a full audit and look for fraud. That's the next level. But the AICPA and a number of the non-top Big Four firms are investing millions, if not billions, into applying AI down to the next level. Make it even smarter. Let it make even more intelligent human decisions.
Wow. That's really cool. So what does this mean for the future of, I guess, the CPA credential and the students who are currently in school studying to be CPAs so that they can do audits in 5 years?
I mean, it's the best thing ever. It means we can move past like the manual process, the bank recs, auditing cash, auditing payables, doing bookkeeping, and moving into being a consultant, advisor, and entrepreneur to our clients. And that's that real play that we could never get to before because we're so busy down here doing the basic stuff.
Right.
The computer AI is going to do that for us. And yeah, we can either quit or we can do the really exciting, interesting, fun, amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Add actual value to our clients' lives every day.
Wow.
So, oh, go ahead, Penny.
Oh, do you think that AI will ever be able to perform those advisory services?
Yes.
I like to don't sugarcoat it or anything.
That's one of the interesting things. Like when I talk about AI around the country, you know, if I talk to a bunch of managing partners in a CPA firm or people with an average age over like 65, they're kind of like, yeah, you know, this will never happen in my lifetime, whatever. And then when I talk to college students, you know, they're like, that's their first question is like, so it'll replace all of what I do in like 10 years? You know, but that's that generational pivot. Like the young people are like, oh yeah, eventually it's going to be able to be a consultant. And then what's our next value add to the client?
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of time. It's evolution. The computers are getting smarter. We're learning how to do this smarter. Mastering true AI at the complete human level has been a very complex task. I read something that I think in the 70s, they thought they could solve that problem within like 3 or 4 years and how to create like an AI computer that could replicate human behavior. You know, and now we're finally getting to see some of that of like it can intelligently match up bank transactions and look for financial statement fraud. It'll still be a while, but we're getting closer to that day when ultimately Skynet comes. I don't have a Terminator puppet. But yeah, when Skynet comes and we're all in trouble. Or the Matrix, you know, one of the two.
Sure.
So that's one of the big things that I've been seeing is, people are afraid of artificial intelligence and machine learning, big data, taking the job of the accountant and the bookkeeper. And like you said, it's automating the boring part. And even getting to the point of consulting, we'll get to the point where artificial intelligence is able to point out some important pieces of information to the business owner and maybe even recommend courses of action. But it's going to be pretty cold. It might say, hey, do this thing now for this outcome. Machines may be evolving brains, but they are not evolving heart, gut intuition, or imagination. Artificial intelligence works within a set of data, within a set of parameters. Big data can't think outside the box. It can analyze all of the data in an audit, rather than taking snippets of information from a massive company file and having to extrapolate from that. It can actually analyze all of the information in 6 hours rather than 6 days, like you were saying, and it'll only get faster, whereas humans, our speed has kind of a limit.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not going to be able to think outside the box. It's not going to be able to put itself in the position of somebody committing fraud and think, wait a second, what if there's something here that the computer might not be thinking of? What if there's a new way that we've thought of to commit fraud? Because people who commit fraud are pretty creative sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, and the ultimate futurist response to that is, why can't we, at some point, are we able to replicate the computer that is our brain into an actual computer? And at some point in human evolution and the evolution of our world, are we going to figure that out?
Yeah.
Probably. How long will it be? Probably when we're all past. But eventually, I think it's just, we'll figure out those mysteries. But for now, yeah, it's going to get rid of the work that we never really wanted to do before. And that's why those statistics that say, robots are going to take 9% of accounting jobs. Yes, they will. But the accounting jobs that we never really truly wanted or really enjoy anyways. I mean, there's a small percentage that say, like, I just love doing bank recs. But for most of us, if you said, hey, Garrett, you can never do a bank rec again, sign me up.
Yep. Well, and there are people who do really enjoy it. The main thing that I'm seeing as a potential problem, 5 years down the line, is that our schools are still teaching accounting in the way that accounting was done 20 years ago. They're still teaching how to do audits and taxes and management accounting on paper, basically. Yes, they're getting some software involved, but they're teaching the back-end debits and credits. They're teaching generally accepted accounting principles, but they're not teaching how to do the consulting and advisory side of things. They're not teaching the soft skills. They're not teaching heart, gut intuition, and imagination. They're teaching students how to be computers when that's the part that's being automated. What can we do to help get our schools on track for the wave of the future?
I mean, I think the schools and some of those things are almost like a lost cause. They're so far behind. And I remember, like, when I was studying for the CPA exam, like, one of the modules was, and all the study material was like, memorize the one-page audit opinion letter, because you might have to rewrite it word for word in the test. And we're just thinking, like, what value is that at all? Like, the fact that I memorized like 700 words, what does that have to do with any value that I can provide as an intelligent human being? All that you proved is that I can memorize 700 words in a specific order. That what?
Yeah,
like,
now we copy and paste?
Yeah, they're like, what? If the world ends, or if I'm stuck on a deserted island, I could be like, hold on, guys, like, I can issue an audited financial statements to, like, those 20 of us here on the island that, like, so
I mean, really the important things, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But that is the pivot that the big educational institutions are faced with in all industries right now. How do they pivot across the board, what they teach the students going through it, to deal with automation and AI that's hitting all industries, not just ours? Because we're moving from a very, we did the work, to we're analyzing and value to it, completely different skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a big pivot. That's one of the reasons why I kind of made that pivot myself and spent a lot of my time teaching those skills to accountants and professionals all around the country, is because that's the hardest part. How do you learn to add value to your client and be forward thinking instead of backwards thinking?
Yeah.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So with that, I think it's important to point out that with these developments, our schools are changing also. And it's starting with smaller progressive private schools that are looking to develop a more, rather than the sage on the stage where the teacher stands in the front of the room and it tells people what to think. It's more of the guide on the side, helping people learn how to think for themselves. And people get to develop their own curriculums and come up with what areas of learning they're most interested in pursuing. And it's creating a much more flexible education experience. So with these advances in technology, the way that we learn is also changing. And I think that's a really cool thing too.
Oh yeah.
It's exciting for you with a 4-year-old. Your kiddo's going to enter school at a really exciting time.
Yeah. Now, if the real Dr. Shaw was here, he is an actual college professor teaching accounting and finance.
Ooh.
And Dr. Shaw, what would you have to say? Well, Garrett, in New Jersey, I teach a lot of non-traditional knowledge, technology, and skills. That's my Dr. Sean voice. We'll limit that. He spends a lot of time, I'll speak on his behalf in my normal voice. He spends a lot of time kind of bringing those non-traditional things into the classroom.
That's fantastic.
Important. And it's going to take, like you said, those smaller schools that start with, education is going to change completely, or it becomes, is there still a value to sending someone to school to get a traditional education and come out of school with this much debt if it's not adding value to their professional life?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we just have a handful of minutes left, and I want to make sure that we get to touch on blockchain, which, speaking of Dr. Sean Stein-Smith, that's his favorite topic in the whole wide world. And Garrett, you're going to have to fill in. So,
well, actually, I'm really curious about blockchain as well, because Ingrid said that we were going to be working on this, and so yeah, I brought my blockchain, but I have no idea what I'm even supposed to do with this.
Penny, that's not the right type of blockchain.
What do you mean?
Penny, that's not the right type of blockchain. Blockchain is a technology, not a block and a chain.
Oh.
Okay. His voice got a little higher.
I thought he was going to do something with sailing, block and chain, pulleys. Anyway, well, yeah, put that away.
Maybe it's my husband, the old block and chain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So kind of like in the simplest way, and this is what I tell my parents when they ask me about blockchain, or what do you do with blockchain? Blockchain is one of those technologies very akin to the internet. Like right now, there's a thing called the internet, and it makes things like this work. And you do not ask how the internet works. You do not care how the internet works. The internet simply allows you to do a million different things, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's really the future of blockchain. Moving past like this cryptocurrency fad, the future of blockchain is it's a technology that is applied to multiple industries and areas that allows things in your life to be easier, more efficient, and faster. Blockchain relies on a series of hashes and codes to match transactions across different databases and systems. They call it ledgers, but it can be applied in a million different ways. The first one was cryptocurrency. Bitcoin's the most famous cryptocurrency. And one of the interesting things with blockchain is it started as this very anarchist, libertarian idea of how do we take the concept of currency out of the hands of government and give it to the people. So it was like hands off government, libertarian, decentralized system. There's no one central point of contact. It's controlled by the users. And that's that kind of fad that'll go away. And that's going to get adopted by big government, big organizations. And they're going to take it and say, well, now the US currency runs on blockchain technology. And it's not decentralized, spread across all these millions of users globally. It's controlled by the Federal Reserve. And we're right back where we started. But we're seeing some really important real world applications with blockchain past cryptocurrency. One of the best examples that kind of brings it home, Walmart. I'm sure everyone watching this has shopped at Walmart at some point. There's Walmarts everywhere. Huge global organization. They deal with vendors all across the world. And we're seeing more and more outbreaks of things like salmonella in their food. So for Walmart, it can take them 30 to 60 days to track back an outbreak to where they got that produce from and figure out where the rest of it went. Problem, 60 days and a salmonella outbreak is an eternity. So Walmart did a pilot program last year with, I think they used the IBM Hyperledger. Look at that. How can they use blockchain technology, not for cryptocurrencies, but to track shipments of mangoes globally to stores? Using a barcode system and the same blockchain fundamental technology. And what used to take 30 to 60 days now takes 2.5 seconds.
Wow.
2.5 seconds. So if you think about that, 2.5 seconds, they can tell an individual mango at a store in Austin, Texas, where it came from globally.
That's amazing.
That is
And it has
amazing.
nothing to do with that block and chain penny that you had right there.
So-
Yeah, clearly.
So cryptocurrency and tracking mangoes, one thing that blockchain could potentially have on the horizon that I'm really excited about, because as I understand it, half the point of blockchain is that it's pretty much unhackable. I mean, I've heard about people hacking blockchain. It happened, but it's pretty tough, right?
And the hacks tend to come with someone gets the password to someone's wallet account.
Got it.
It really isn't they hack the underlying technology. Like someone didn't hack QuickBooks.
Right.
You simply left the password on your desktop to QuickBooks as password 1.
Yeah.
And they put password 1 in, and they got in your QuickBooks file, and maybe there's data in there they stole. So
Yeah.
That's my password. I guess I got to change that.
Penny, really? I would have thought your password would have been like Penny 1 or like Sassy Lady or
Cars are great with an 8.
Yeah. See? Well, yeah, that's where most of the theft becomes that. Is that, and yeah, the whole concept of the records are impermutable is the word they say, because they're verified across different nodes in different parts of the network.
Yeah.
So if it gets changed, it's flagged across thousands of computers. Say, hey, this one file got changed. Disallow.
Yeah.
You got to have in the public blockchain sense, which cryptocurrencies run on today, you have to have 51% of the nodes verify a transaction or the historical record.
So I want to try, because we like to have Ask a Bookkeeper be really basic, user friendly. This is the group for total beginners. There are no stupid questions. This is why we have a puppet show. This is Sesame Street for business owners. So taking ideas of nodes and networks. What was that?
So no offense to Penny and her intelligence, though. I mean, she's
Penny can be a little fluff for brains sometimes.
Yeah, a bit.
So, I guess when we take the ideas of nodes and networks, the idea of blockchain is that there are individual points of data that are spread across so many different places that it's impossible to hack them all. Isn't that right, Garrett? Is that kind of what we're summarizing here?
In like the public style network.
Yep.
And ultimately, blockchain, like what it means to the accounting professionals is eventually someone's going to come up with a package for blockchain technology that's going to allow us to verify receivables, payables, inventory, or payroll with multiple vendors.
Yeah.
At a click of a button. And right now, like your payables that go to like 36 vendors, do you have the same amount as them? Maybe. And now just be like, hit the blockchain button, and it just goes on the list and verifies and updates it on a regular basis. So for the accounting profession, for finance people, it's one of those programs that's just going to like suddenly appear. There's a program that does this, and it's driven by blockchain, and it's mainly going to be ones that verify transactions between different companies and third parties.
Yeah.
So I would.
With cryptocurrency is just like the current fad and iteration.
So I was kind of under the impression that blockchain was about data storage, but you're talking about it like there's actual processes that it does as well. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, like any computer program, there's data that's stored and there's data that's in motion when it happens.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the biggest piece, because even blockchain's being applied to things like smart contracts. Once again, a contract isn't a cryptocurrency exchange, but there's always that, like, Ingrid has $100, Garrett has $50. Ingrid gives Garrett $50, and he verifies that receipt. Well, the money, it flows in motion through the blockchain, and then the historical records are tracked and kept on both sides.
Right.
There's always that mix of both sides. There's historical data and the data flowing in motion. One of the biggest challenges with blockchain technology is it is incredibly accurate. It's incredibly reliable. It's very hard to hack and interrupt, but it is slower than historical transactions like wires.
Oh.
Typically a wire you can do, maybe it's like 2 million wires per second. In terms of blockchain transactions, you might get to 5,000 blockchain transactions per second.
Okay.
When it comes to like mass market scale, that's still a limiting factor.
Huh. Okay.
So it's slower for now, but my guess is that they're working on that part.
It's getting exponentially faster.
Yeah. So the important thing is that once something is recorded in blockchain and there's a piece of data, that piece of data can't be changed. And so we have a record of all of the data. And the piece that I'm really excited about is how in the future, this could impact our voting. making it so that people can, say, vote from their smartphones and have a way to verify without a shadow of a doubt who someone is, so that you know who's voting, and making it so people can vote from anywhere. There's no challenge in getting to the polls. And with that, making it so that, I mean, today, people who don't even have a home often have a smartphone.
Yes.
People are prioritizing having a mobile device over having a place to live. And this could really even the playing field, making sure that everybody who wants to vote can, and that there's no potential at all in any way for election fraud. That's huge.
And really to have that happen, what's going to have to happen in conjunction with that is really an advanced level of biometric security. Right now they're talking about, okay, you no longer have an actual password. Like your password is tied to your DNA.
Yeah.
So your smartphone verifies your DNA for Garrett matches the DNA file in the system to vote. And that's how it does it. Because otherwise, that's the beauty, that's the pro and con of blockchain is, it's very, very hard to hack unless you have someone's password.
Yeah.
If you pass their password, you have access to everything. So with that voting side and a lot of that stuff like that blockchain concept, they've got to figure that out. But it's also things like titles for homes and houses. The titling process for homes and real estate, it's slow, it's manual, it goes back to centuries. It's always a pain to do. You're paying lawyers and insurance providers to verify titles, look at records.
Yeah.
With blockchain, it'd be simple as, hey, Ingrid, I'd like to buy your house. We put it in here. Here's the agreed upon purchase price. Send. In an instant, you're funded from the bank. I have a new mortgage on my account, and the title automatically transfers from you to me like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's no more title insurance. There's no more lawyers involved. All the titles for all properties could be kept on a blockchain for those benefits.
Wow. That's
right,
amazing.
Patty? You like that?
So that's pretty cool. And so that would do away with things like notaries and stuff. Like, somebody who's just looking at the signatures to say, yeah, this actually happened.
Yeah, that little. Are you a notary, Penny?
No, but I've used them.
You use them?
Yeah.
For what?
For legal documents, wills, power of attorney, stuff like that.
You ever take them out on a date?
No, not really. Why?
Just
Are
curious.
you a notary, Garrett? Are you asking Penny out?
No,
Yeah.
I am not a notary.
Do you want to go out?
I don't know, Penny. I'm pretty busy.
Oh.
You'd have to ask his daughter.
Penny. Dr. Sean, though.
Ooh, I do like a doctor. hey, Dr. Sean, I can make you a yummy pie. See, I have a business called Penny's Pies. So,
okay.
Yeah. That's why I keep making all these pie references. I love making pies.
Penny, I will coordinate the date between you and Dr. Sean.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
That sounds like a great idea. And with that, this has been a great date with you, Garrett. Thank you so much again for joining us. We are a little bit over time. I wanted to make sure we really got to check in about blockchain and all kinds of other great fun technology ideas. So,
not a blockchain.
Right. Penny, I love how there's a human hand holding your blockchain. A little peek behind the fourth wall here.
Yeah.
So if for our audience out there, if you've got any questions, we will be continuing this conversation on the Ask a Bookkeeper Facebook group. Feel free to join us there, and be sure to check out past episodes of Ask a Bookkeeper for other fun topics. Garrett, if our audience wants to find out more information about you and your educational resources, where can they find you?
LinkedIn and Twitter, probably the best places to find me. Garrett Wagner 37 on Twitter. Reach out to me anytime. Happy to help. Happy to talk to anybody out there. I'm happy, Dr. Sean. Thank you. Blockchain. You like to say. But yeah, it's been a great time. Penny, I enjoyed this. And for everybody watching, just the best thing to do, just keep learning. There's so much technology and there's so many things going on. Just keep learning every day. We talk about just invest in yourself every day as that most important step.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for in Ask the Bookkeeper.
Yeah, and I have one final question for you, Garrett. As in, like, an overarching of AI, it sounds like you're pretty positive about all this and the direction that it's going with big data gathering and eventually being able to make it really secure with blockchain and AI kind of running our lives. Is this all a positive thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I look at it like a positive thing because evolution is a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
The fact is that your car is better than it was 20 years ago, a positive thing, Penny?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know, it's change, it's evolution. The world constantly changes. If it does, what's the point?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, we will be coming back here every first Friday of the month until AI takes over puppet shows.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Running out of
Wonderful.
time, so we're out of a job.
Thanks so much for joining, everyone. And you can be sure to check us out on askabookkeeper.com for more information. Thanks again for joining us, Garrett. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Yep. Bye. Thanks, Garrett.
Bye.
Thanks, Ingrid. Bye.